To be a Mississippian, it means that I will have to accept my past and begin to really work on the present and in the future. It's not denial. And sometimes people want me to deny that we've had a bad past and we ought to just move on. I am proud to be a Mississippian. I believe that this is a wonderful and fantastic state, and I believe that, that we are on the cutting edge of being a state that understands and is willing to work toward the future. So I'm proud to be a Mississippian. Not always, but I think today, more than ever, I'm proud to be a Mississippian.
To be a Mississippian is to be that mix, that contradiction of love and hate and all those things. And there's so many great Mississippians when you think through history. William Faulkner, Medgar Evers, Willie Morris, and so many others who've meant so much to this state over the years, and true leaders, and really have made this a great place today. You know, Medgar Evers said if Mississippi ever took care of the race question, this would be the best place in the world to live. And I think he's right.
Whenever I tell people that I am from Mississippi, they sigh or they exclaim, "Ah, you're a Mississippian? What was that like?" And I think what it means to be a Mississippian to the external world, to those who are not Mississippian, is that you're attached to the history that Mississippi is so notorious for. For me, what it means to be a Mississippian means to be a product of this area that's the world capital of the blues, Clarksdale, Mississippi, where I was born and raised. And to be proud, to say I come from where the blues were. And you think of people like Robert Johnson and Muddy Waters and all of these folks who you know, really helped to create that genre of music. When I say that I'm from Mississippi, to know that I'm from a place where people have struggled for liberation, for equality, and overcame and survived. So to be a Mississippian means, to be a Black Mississippian means to be a survivor. And that's why it's always so nice for me to move through the world and somewhat become an ambassador and see, well, I can still be in these hallowed halls of the Ivory Tower and be from this place that most of the world said, oh, I've never visited, I'm afraid of visiting. And in fact, I'm told that repeatedly. I don't think I could ever go to Mississippi. I'm afraid from the stories that I've heard. But for me to be a Mississippian is to mean that I'm also a world citizen. You know, I'm a national citizen, and that I can cross state borders. I can come back to the state. To be a Mississippian means to talk in this glorious twang that we use as Mississippians. Although some people seem to think, well, you've lost it. I don't think so. It depends on who you're talking to. So all of these things, that's what it means to be a Mississippian for me. It's not just being born in a place. It's about the kind of the culture of the place, the history of it.
Being a Mississippian means to me that I am a part of a conflicted heritage, a lot of good and a lot of bad, a lot of wonderful heroic figures, and a lot of figures who have not reflected credit on our state. Every day I get up remembering out of my own past some of the most remarkable events that any person could have been witness to, and feeling that the best years of our state lie ahead.
To be a Mississippian, I think you have to have a understanding of history, a understanding of tradition. I wasn't born in the state, but I've lived here, I think, long enough, maybe the last 11 years of my life, to get a sense that both Black and white Mississippians really have a passion for tradition, have a passion for religion, have a passion in terms of family. All of those things, I think, are very important. And the other thing that's very peculiar is that within this context of legacy in terms of racial discord, there has been intimacy between blacks and whites in this state, maybe more so than you might find in any other state. And so on the one hand, there are a lot of contradictions. Blacks and whites can share sugar, they can maybe look out for each other in terms of children, but in terms of maybe getting married or going to church together, those things traditionally just have not been done.
To be a Mississippian, what does that mean? That means you have to be knowledgeable about where you come from. You have to understand that there's no place like Mississippi. There's no place that has the cultural background that we have, and basically really understanding the heritage of struggle that we come from, and understanding that that is a unique place in our country for the type of struggle that was happening here during the time of the Civil Rights era and before, that people were standing up where people weren't standing up anywhere else in the country, and some of the worst conditions that were taking place. So you have to understand that. So to be a Mississippian, I think you have to be conscious of your history.
Mississippians, despite the horrific racial crimes that have occurred here, really do share a lot of values in common. And those touchstones of family and faith, food, do create bridges that bring people together. But I'm not necessarily comfortable saying that makes it easier for Mississippi than the North, because obviously there are touchstones in other cultures, other regions that help them as well. What may make it different is that because Mississippi is always in the spotlight, it can't not talk about race. And so being forced to think about it all the time, even if it's an impoverished thought, puts it on the agenda all the time. It's never off the agenda. In other places, it's not on the agenda, and often they'll say, well, we're not Mississippi, so we don't have to talk about it.